going on, Washington? It's Eric Pratt, candidate for the House of Representatives, Position 1, Legislative District 24, out there on the Olympic Peninsula. Coming at you with a quick message. I was doing some reading yesterday and saw some interesting stuff coming across the feeds while I was doing a little research about the House of Representatives in Washington State and how there could be some challenges to the Guard, sort of as it existed. For those of you who sort of study this stuff, most of you know that Lori Jenkins has been Speaker of the House for a long time. I think over a couple bienniums anyway. And it sounds like we might see a challenge to her sort of tenure in that position by April Berg. April Berg, I believe, is out of the 44th district. Don't quote me on that. I'll have to double check, but I believe she's out of the 44th, and she's a very pro-tax, sort of progressive financial capture proponent. I think she was right on board with the new income tax that Washington State finds ourselves with. And I think we'll see further sort of pushes if we see her as Speaker of the House. And it's very important that we understand and communicate with our neighbors about sort of what's going on here, and so they can understand why balance of powers in the legislature, in one of the houses of the legislature, is so important. I'm out here on the job site today, but I wanted to put this together. So there's noises going on all around. But why it's so important that we communicate with our fellow voters about the issues going on with the House of Representatives and the Senate. But I think this cycle, it's more important because we've got to bring, it's really apparent we need a balanced set of voices. The Democrats have really taken a position of extreme policies that don't represent the broad spectrum of Washington State and Legislative District 24. Adam Birnbaum, the person who is the incumbent, the Democrat incumbent in the seat that I'm vying for, voted for that income tax. And I believe shows a voting record of sort of voting along with the Democrat caucus, which doesn't necessarily coincide with the full scope necessary for Legislative District 24. There's a lot of people who don't support the movement toward an income tax. And we can see that in sort of how the voting demographic has been made up. And if we want representation, full, complete, whole representation, then I think it's important we hold people like Adam Birnbaum accountable. April Berg in her district is seeing probably a lot more progressive push from her constituency. I'm sure there's a small amount of people in her district that are non-progressive thinkers, or maybe there's quite a few, but it's different out on the Legislative District 24, out on the Olympic Peninsula. And I think it's important when we look at Adam Birnbaum's voting record, we take that into consideration. I think going forward, we'll just see, we would see Birnbaum, if he continues, to just vote along the caucus needs. Our district out in 24th has sort of been a little strange. They've given some leeway to the senators and the representatives to vote along with Republicans or sort of outside the Democrat caucus because they can afford to on certain bills. But that income tax bill was really indicative of sort of what I think the future would hold if Birnbaum retains that seat. But that's why you got to get people like me in there, regular people who have the concerns of the kitchen table more closer to their view. I see that in my kids. I see that in their schools. I see that in the bills that I have to pay with the income I have to bring in as a single dad. And so I'm really close to the results of those policies. I think we're losing that with the Democrat majority in our legislative houses. And so it's important that we bring that back into the discussions that we have. We need real people there, not just special interests or people that are sort of part of that political machine. Anyway, the Speaker of the House issue, kind of important. I really think it's an opportunity for us to discuss sort of the balances of power, especially in the House of Representatives. So when you talk to your neighbors, bring that up, talk to them, and ask them if they really want District 44 to sort of be in charge of what should be a broad spectrum representation in our House. I think it'll be a really bad move. I'm not really a fan of Jenkins and what she's done as leader or Speaker of the House as far as bringing policy to the legislature, but I think April Berg's a step in the wrong direction as well. And it sounds like there's a couple other challenges, but it's sort of waiting to be seen whether or not those will come to fruition. I think you got Liz Berry, who's very anti-gun, and Daria Farivar, who's also a very progressive on social issues like anti-police stuff. So pretty bad all around. If we can find a way to capture a majority in the House, I mean, that's our best bet. And then we can really sort of stem the tide of bad policy coming out of Olympia. That's why I put my name in the hat to be your representative, Olympic Peninsula, LD24, and to help Washington State as a whole. So I'm going to get back to work. Hope all is well. Talk to you guys soon.